प्रसार भारती अभिलेखागार की प्रस्तुति सदाबहार सुनहरे दौर का अनमोल खजाना।
Hello. In the last 25 weeks, we have literally seen a kaleidoscope of various kinds of films, genres, styles, and obsessions. We saw films in black and white, in color, silent, talking, and with subjects that dealt with a variety of themes like revolution, counter-revolutions, love, hatred, fantasies, and cold-blooded realities. Now, which other medium has used such a range of subjects? It is for this very reason that cinema is the most powerful medium. And as Lenin once said, it is the most international of all arts. Now, what does this imply? It means that cinema developed basically because it had an audience of an international quality. Film viewers see movies and appreciate them irrespective of their caste, creed, race, and nationalities. No wonder that cinema retains that power. It is certainly the most important people's medium. The power of cinema has captured oppressive states and rebellious people, as we witness in this all-time classic called Battleship Potemkin. Hatred towards people of color, of different ethnic backgrounds and nationalities, as seen here in Fear Eats the Soul.
Komm. Bruno! Komm, Eugen, hier bleiben wir nicht länger. In diesem Schweinestall.
The power and commitment of individuals, on the other hand, who fought back against the state domination, as we saw in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
After centuries of fighting, and fighting for something better than just jungle law, fighting so he can stand on his own 2 feet, free and decent, like he was created. There's no place out there for graft, or greed, or lies.
Or when a young woman protests when she is forcefully married to a man much older than her, as depicted in this early classic called Kunku.
तुम्ही या वयात माझ्यासारख्या मुलीशी लग्न केलं? हा न्याय वाटतो तुम्हाला? आता मला माझ्या सुखाची पर्वा नाही. पण ज्यांनी माझ्याशी अन्याय केला आहे, त्यांना मात्र मी मुळीच सुख लाभू देणार नाही.
बरं बरं, पाहू काय होतं ते. मी तुम्हाला आणखी एक संधी देतो. नीट विचार करा.
In our routine topics for casual conversation, haven't we noticed the number of times that we express our concern for the kind of violent films that run at the box office? And at the same time feel very happy when a small film like Bhuvanshom does very well? Do we not discuss about the astronomical rates that are charged by actors like Sylvester Stallone or the music prodigy like A.R. Rahman, and also feel sorry about the plight of the stars of the yesteryears? Now, will we feel the same kind of concern if a steel factory closes down or the garment export in this country shoots up? What is it that makes us feel more empathetic towards the business conditions of the film trade and indifferent to the conditions in the other industries? What is it that makes us love our cinema so much? It is because films deal with emotions and sentiment which are virtually part of our everyday life, like unemployment and desperate people as portrayed by bicycle thieves.
Abru.
Papà, sono 7:30.
Sono venuto con l'autobus. Andiamo.
E la bicicletta?
प्यार हुआ इकरार हुआ है प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल
कहता है दिल रास्ता मुश्किल मालूम नहीं है कहाँ मंजिल
And the sheer joy of romance when man and woman celebrate their love for each other in the pouring rains, and we as Indians excelled in this tradition of Barsat.
कहता है दिल रास्ता मुश्किल मालूम नहीं है कहाँ मंजिल
Cinema has managed to portray every living emotion, every manageable sentiment, and every possible dramatic plot. Is there anything more that cinema can do or should be doing?
I think that, I don't want to be deterministic to declare the end or the opening. I think that it's not for us to decide. I think that we have to insist on a certain direction. And I think that it's important to give young filmmakers, new filmmakers, also a crack into this medium and give them the potential to create their world of images like the ancestors of cinema have been doing. And I think cinema should not really abandon a role of reflection, on the reality. I think that we should give space both to the entertainment and so on, but also to individual way of looking at the society. I mean, for myself, it was always a great discovery to find Ritwik Gatak in some places, to find Sagittray, and I hope that we'll have more in the future.
But then a film which doesn't necessarily, at least superficially, doesn't deal with such problems, but then get into real human concerns, not of just everyday lives, anxieties and worries, but then which goes beyond that. I think that it takes some time for them to really start understanding and getting to the core of them. This is a genuine problem faced by, I think, the more genuine and more cultural specific the film is, the problem becomes more and more grave. Otherwise, it should be done in a language and syntax which has become sort of universal now. So the universality has to be there, it is there, but at the same time certain nuances are bound to escape the notice, sometimes even of very experienced critics. This happens.
Society and cinema have had a very intimate and almost symbiotic relationship with each other in terms of growth and development. One can say almost unabashed that in the same way that mankind has developed or regressed in the last 100 years, cinema too has kept up with the same pace. Now, can we ask whether the development of cinema was due to the change in the people and its nation, or did cinema influence the change of the people so dramatically? What was cinema's role in the creation of a national identity? Cinema gave vent to the Indian people's feeling for their independence, as shown here in Tyagabhumi. It expressed how individuals feel about their city, which they love so much, as seen here in Cuba, in a film called Memories of Underdevelopment.
Una ciudad de cartón. El titán de bronce. Cuba libre e independiente. ¿Quién iba a sospechar todo esto?
It even expressed the great admiration for the railway system in Britain. And this nationalistic film was called Night Mail.
Approaches, stare from the bushes at her blank-faced coaches. Sheepdogs cannot turn her course. They slumber on with paws across. In the farm she passes, no one wakes, but a jug in a bedroom gently shakes.
And cinema made the world to recognize a small ice-bound nation and its people called the Eskimos. In this delightful film called Nanook of the North.
With his strong teeth, he breaks the fish's back.
We have also noticed that in the post-Second World War era, the true face of consumerism showed its seductive nature through the medium of television and its extremely attractive commercial campaigns. But you must have seen enough of those ads by now. But have you noticed the way these ads manage to make an impact on the structural construction of our films today?
चलते चलते मिला लड़का दीवाना बोला वही जो बोले कोई दीवाना लवली आंखें मीठी बातें स्टाइल तेरा बल्ला बल्ला देखते ही सीटी मारे करता है वो हल्ला गुल्ला अरे बाबा करे क्या दीवाना अरे बाबा करे क्या दीवाना लगा जब भी लगी देखे गाए यही गाना दिल दे देना मैं संग तेरे भाग चली मेरे घर से मेरे बाप के डर से मेरे बाप के डर से जाऊंगी दूर लेके तुझे सबकी नजर से जाऊंगी दूर लेके तुझे सबकी नजर से
I think we already, at least in Europe, in a state where cinema is only the starter, the focus of one big merchandising process. So a movie is made not for its own sake, but to sell toys, to sell comics, to sell books, to sell cups, teacups, and so on and so on. And on the other hand, with the coming of the multiplex cinema, it also begins to lose its own aesthetic. It becomes like, you know, yes, and with Dolby stereo around, and they even developed seats which are balancing when you see a car driving, you go with like that. So it's childish entertainment, and there will for me that is a great chance for movie makers, no, for filmmakers, to find a new way. But I think it is not possible to have one film culture anymore. You as a young filmmaker, I think you have definitely draw a border. If you are saying yes, I'm the next film will have a greater budget and the next more and more and more, then you're lost. I think the only chance for a new cinema is to say, even if we have not the technical opportunities, if we have not the budget, if we have no stars, we will make our own thing. And I think for that is a demand, political and aesthetically.
Despite the threats of merchandising and consumerism, drama still remains the essential fort of cinema. And when we watch all those dramatic classics full of human sentiment and emotion, our hearts reach out to the human being in all of us.
Hey, Clint!
This powerful drama created here by Henry Clouseau is an example of artistic precision also. Each one of his shots are measured, and the interplay between dialogue and effects create a whole new language. Every element here has the personal stamp of a director. Robert Enrico was a fresh graduate when he made this stunning debut film. The level of experimentation and the intensity of drama here do not seem to interfere with each other. The important thing, however, was the fact that he did have the opportunity to make such an experiment. What should be the task of a good film promoter today?
our task is just so limited, just holding one international festival, selecting few films, sending them in some different countries, and then forget about cinema. And then you also have this fight, this parallel cinema, that cinema, mainstream cinema. So everything has jeopardized our problem, and we are now facing such a big problem that sometimes some of the filmmakers might start thinking how long we'll be able to continue. So the government support is not only giving some money through an industry to a filmmaker, it's also a wholehearted support to promote your cinema.
Well, there's always this possibility of a civil society emerging, and the withering away of the state, creating a situation where there is also the withering away of the consumerist marketplace, and instead a marketplace emerging where you can dialogue, where you can actually work as a citizen, and where you are able to invite the fullness of being.
Cesare Zavattini, one of the architects of neorealism in Italy. I met him when he was pretty old, and he possibly left cinema at that time. And he told me that he has lost all interest in cinema. I said, why? The cinema has not been able to project the reality. Cinema has not been able to change the society. I said, did you have any illusion that cinema can change the society? He said, of course, I had this belief. And in other words, I mean that he was under the impression that everything can be done. I said, it can create a climate, that's all, and it can create a debate. It can provoke you to a debate. Isn't it enough?
There is no doubt that on the completion of 100 years, cinema is finding itself at a crossroad. Which direction is it going to take? Now, if you look at the history of cinema, you will always find that it kept coming at such junctions where its future looked completely bleak. And like a typical hero and a heroine, it will raise itself out of this morass and move forward, possibly to find another junction. The first decade witnessed cinema struggling to find a way to reach audiences through distribution and exhibition sectors. The 20s saw the emergence of the silent stars, the studio systems, and its sudden death, thanks to the introduction of sound. The 30s witnessed the emergence of studio conglomerates and the Depression and the Second World War. The 40s saw the challenge posed by television and color. The 50s saw the rise of the independent filmmakers, the film festivals, and the concept of the global cinema. The 60s saw the Vietnam crisis and the angry young rebellious new wave filmmakers protesting against the established cinema. The 70s saw the emergence of the true decadence with blockbusters, elaborate star systems, and a long row of disasters. The 80s and the 90s have been witnessing the rise of the techno wizards. Isn't it amazing that after 100 years, cinema has come to a point where it is being admired for its technological marvelousness? Isn't it amazing that cinema has lost its human face, its spiritual self in all this technical gimmickry? The time has come for us to ask this one question: where is the human being in the face of cinema today? And if we can find the answer for it, we can certainly take cinema to a positive future in the 21st century. Thank you for being with us on Frame to Frame. Goodbye.